Welcome to the Reckoning podcast, where we stoke a campfire, gather around, and have real-life conversations with old friends, new friends, professionals, and just shoot the shit. Reckoning all things from hunting, outdoors, beauty, entrepreneurship, relationships, life, and more. It's all just a reckoning. All right, so I'm sitting here recording this, and the boys are currently in the kitchen frying up Coop's wiper that he caught just a couple days ago. You may even hear them clanking around in the background. It's real life. Coop's running the show, and Rivs is being a sous chef, which I love. Coop has this recipe down pat, by the way. And it actually feels like perfect timing to bring back this episode with Jeremiah Doughty from Field to Plate, especially with hunting season around the corner. In this conversation, Jeremiah shares how to properly field dress for the best flavor profiles and how to take care of that meat, and how to work with the natural flavors of your harvest instead of against them. He hates the word gamey. There's no such thing as gamey around here. That is something I think our family has always tried to do. And then ever since recording this episode, he really made me think about how it is I work with flavor profiles and really think that through when I'm cooking something and preparing it. He really helps you make the most out of what we catch or harvest, respecting it and letting it shine on the plate. So whether you missed this one the first time or you just need a little refresher because it has been a few years since this episode released, let's get into it. So the essence of this is hanging around the campfire and shooting the shit with your friends, just getting to know the random person that comes into camp, because as you know, probably some of the best conversations happen around the campfire. So if you're hanging around the campfire, what is something that you'd be sipping on, snacking on? What's like your go-to? Do you have a go-to?
Well, I don't drink, and so it's always fun because I'm always sitting around there and watching people drink, and it's the sober guy in the party that is like laughing hysterically at people.
Yeah.
But I'm usually the guy who brings the candy.
Oh, nice.
Sitting in the deer blind, sitting in the turkey blind, duck blind, or around the fire. It's like, hey, who wants Skittles or who wants Reese's Pieces? And everyone's like, what? But I would say gummy bears usually.
Gummy bears?
Oh,
That's your go-to.
Bust out gummy bears like crazy.
That's awesome. My kids just went out with my husband to put up his friend's antelope blind yesterday, and the boys came back and his buddy had bought him a couple big bags of gummy bears, and they were like, Mom, these are the bomb.com. You got to try these gummy bears. So I think that's going to be their new go-to when we go hunting, is a bag full of gummy bears.
Well, the thing is too, especially when you're doing a lot of Western hunts and you're hiking and you need that sugar boost.
Yeah.
No matter how hot you are or cold you are, like even when they're hot, they melt into like one super ball of gummies. And so you can pop that in your mouth and like suck on it and chew on it and get that sugar rush that you need to like get up the mountain.
Yeah.
Or when you're sitting in the car and you're exhausted and you pop one in and just kind of get that. I mean, guys are always eating jerky sticks, which is awesome, making all that. But I don't know, you pull out the gummy bears, and even like the guy who's a CrossFit star drinking Mountain Ops is like, well, I'll take a handful of those.
Yeah.
So I think that's the go-to.
They are. It's true. It's good to just kind of munch on, and it takes a minute. It gives you something to do.
Yeah.
How did you get introduced to the outdoors?
I was born and raised. I mean, even though I'm a Southern California kid, I mean, you see the wall behind me.
Yeah.
I was born and raised on the beach. And
Okay.
so in junior high and high school was that surfer kid out there surfing and fishing. Mornings be surfing, afternoons be fishing. And then every September, my family would go dove hunting from I was this big till now. I mean, I've never missed a September 1st since I was 6 years old.
Wow.
And even I have, even all these big hunts, I've got caribou hunts and everything else planned. It's like, okay, we can't leave until the 4th because 1, 2, and 3, I'm shooting dove in Blythe. And so that's just kind of how it started, was getting your license and hunting dove. Southern California, it's all upland game birds is your primary hunting. You've got deer, but it's really hard to get. But we've got dove, quail, chucker, pheasant. We got 3 types of quail. We have our valley, our gambles, and our mountain quail. So you can get the grand slam of, quail in a day. And so really growing up being a bird hunter is still my passion. If it flies, it dies. And no matter how many deer I shoot, someone says, hey, you want to go shoot upland birds? I'm like, yeah, let's go.
That's your thing.
So it's fun. It's again, as you said, hanging around the campfire and chatting. When you're walking with the dogs or sitting in a blind, the conversations that happen over a dead bird is way more impactful than sitting in a blind and trying to shoot this guy, because you're quiet, you're stealthy, you're drawing back your bow, and you can kind of just have a lot more interaction and fun with it.
That's true. I've never thought of it like that, because a lot of times for me being in Utah, when I think of bird hunting, I think of
freezing. That's
Yeah.
always been my thing is it's always been freaking cold. You're hiking around, but it is true. There's been some really great experiences where it is just, sitting in the blinds talking. And that's always what my husband and I have said, even just with turkey hunting with the kids. I think that's a great way to start kids into hunting is birds for that reason, because it is a little more, you can have the conversations you need to have with your kids about hunting and just life in general, because you're not having to be so stealthy.
Yeah, and, and when and giving them a box call to just
Yeah.
rack on. I remember we were out, with my daughter, and she was just hammering. I'm like, "Gosh, you sound like crap," just
Yeah.
scratching, and all of a sudden, went from the distance, we hear, and I went, "Keep going, keep going."
Yeah.
And she was just going, and this big old Tom just comes strutting in. He didn't care. He just wanted to fight. And so he heard just this racket going on, and he was thinking there was two birds going at it and fighting. And when he came over, I mean, not puffed up. He came out with his wings dragged, drumming, stomping. He was looking to fight. And we shot that turkey. And I remember going, well, I guess it really doesn't matter. But in her mind, she was the best caller ever. And
Heck
she
yeah,
told her,
she
"Oh, I
called it
called in
in.
that turkey," and I was like, "She did." Like, and I've sat there with some guys who have won NWTF competitions, and
Mhm.
they haven't called birds in as well as, a 6-year-old with a box call. So,
That's awesome, good for her. What good bragging rights she has with that.
yeah, I mean, I still shot it. So I'm just saying,
But she called it in for daddy,
she
so
she called
that's
it in. She called it
that's
in.
awesome. So was your first well, I guess your first hunting experience with birds then?
Yep. Yeah.
And then what got you into being a wild game chef?
Back in 2008, found out I started getting really sick. I started developing allergies towards a lot of food. And, that's right about that time that celiac disease was coming out and
Mhm.
gluten intolerance was going crazy. And so everyone's like, "Oh, you're just gluten intolerant. You just are dairy intolerant. You're whatever." I'm like, "No, I can eat a PB&J all day long and be completely fine. I can go and drink a gallon of milk and and drink a milkshake and be fine. There's something more underlying that's deeper here." And so through tests and through studies and through dietary things, found out that I'm actually there's a whole laundry list of things that I'm allergic to,
Mhm.
but the number one is bovine fat. So domesticated cattle. I can't eat beef. I can't eat beef fat. I can't eat anything that has touched beef fat. I can't, like, it gets me super, super sick. And so being someone who was born and raised eating steak and potatoes and beef and potatoes as a little Irish boy, and then at 17 years old getting in the restaurant industry, working high end steakhouses, managing, developing corporate programs, and writing recipes and menus for, burger joints and steakhouses and rib shacks. All of a sudden, I couldn't eat anything that I was a part of, anything that I was developing, any restaurant I was in.
Mhm.
And so for about a year and a half, it was just birds, because I couldn't even eat some pork because you didn't know where they were processed. Were they processed in the same machines that you were grinding stuff? Or if you look at sausages, a lot of sausages are cut with beef fat. A lot of oils are derivative. They have the same enzyme within beef fat. So like sunflower seed oil. So you look at all these other things and it really thrust me into this, oh crap, I can't eat anything and I can't do anything. And so I was just almost in this depression state. Just got married. We got married 2007, so it was like a year into marriage. Started affecting marriage because, as you know, you're married.
Yeah.
All of a sudden your spouse doesn't want to go out and do anything because they don't know what's going to trigger it, or they don't know.
Mhm.
And so you're like, "Oh, you want to go to the fair?" No, I'm not going to go to the fair because I'm gonna walk on the fair and get sick, and then I'm
Yeah.
going to go sit in the air conditioned car while you have fun with your friends. So why don't you just go have fun with your friends? And so started really researching and studying, and one of the big things is wild game meat doesn't have the enzyme because it lacks the fat. It lacks this enzyme that develops through the hormone process, through the um, finishing stage of whenever you take cattle and you finish it. That's where
Mhm.
this enzyme develops.
Interesting.
Um, and so, but I was a bird hunter. I had no idea what to do. From the age 6 to 23 years old, from September 1st through January, all I was doing was hunting birds. I
Mhm.
have 40 different shotguns. If it's, whatever season it is for duck, I have a shotgun that's going to go for if they're flying away, if it's too windy, if it's cold, if it's right. And
Nice.
so all of a sudden I'm like, I have no idea what to do. So I was actually getting ready for fall turkey season. And I was out at the archery range. This old timer walks up and he pulls out a camo bow. Well, being in Southern California down here in Surf City, USA, someone pulls out something that's camouflage, that's not like Sitka, where it's like, oh, look, I just wear it because I want the brand name on my thing,
Right.
and they
Yeah.
still have, their truck is 4 feet off the ground and has never seen dirt. And so we start chatting, and he was getting ready to go to Wyoming to hunt antelope. I was like, man, I would love to hunt out of state because here in our states it's so hard, but it's not affordable. If I
Mhm.
go hunt in Utah, which is great,
Yeah.
a mule deer tag's like $800 for a
Yeah.
non-res, and it's like you can't just to go
Yeah.
shoot a muley, to get 120 pounds of meat. It's you're looking at 4 something pound, and anyway, me from my restaurant background, I'm like, no, you know,
Yeah. Doesn't add up.
and he goes, a doe tag in Wyoming for a non-resident is $38, tag and license, and I went, you're a liar. He's like, no, I swear to you. So I literally put my bow back in the case. I drove home, went on Wyoming, fishing game, and there was a whole laundry list of leftover license. $38 for a tag and a license for non-res. And at that time you can get 4 doe tags.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh my gosh, for $200, I can get 4 tags. Wyoming's 11 and a half hours away from where I live. Screw it. I'm going to go do it. So I talked to a buddy and I was like, hey, you want to go hunt antelope? He's a fireman. He didn't know what he was doing either. He had gone out deer hunting with his dad like 2 or 3 times, but again, just as our wives call it, we go play hide and go seek with the animals,
Yeah.
or we go on hikes with guns. And so we went out to Wyoming. I mean, I bought a over the counter, brand new, Thompson Center at the time, because it was the very first year Thompson Center came out with their guns. It's a Smith and Wesson company, but I think it was like $125 for a 30-06, which now they're like $700. And I bought a cheap Bushnell scope at Walmart because I'm like, whatever scope's the scope, right?
Mhm.
A 3x9 by 4. And we get out there, we hunted for a week, and it was the hardest hunt of my entire life, still to this day, because you don't know what you're doing. So you're
Yeah.
walking over plains, like, oh, there's an antelope. Oh, look, they see us. Oh, look, they took off. Oh,
Yeah.
look, we hiked. Oh, look, they took off. It's like, what? Why can't we shoot these things? And then the very last day, I ended up shooting my first antelope. And again, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I pull out a pocket knife that I got when I was 13, like a little Swiss Army one. The one that has like the toothpick and the
Yeah.
tweezers and the
A little red
corks-
one.
yeah, the corkscrew to take off your wine and whatever else it has on there. And I'm trying to gut this animal with that knife, and I'm like, this is stupid. Like, I'll take birds all day long because I'm freezing cold. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm out in the middle. I'm 12 miles from the car. I don't know how to break this thing down. This is really
Mhm.
before YouTube was a thing or social media was even a thing. I think Facebook had just started. It was like, 2007 Facebook started. So it's still, you could have been like, there was no community group, and got it, took it to a butcher because again, no idea what I'm doing. Butcher gives us back the meat. We get home and I hate it. It's the worst tasting meat. I mean, it's just disgusting. Tastes like you're sucking on a sage brand. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was all this time, all this effort, all this money for crap, right? But that old saying grew up, if you kill it, you eat it, from my
Mhm.
dad. And so it's like, I got to figure out how to do this. Jeremiah, you work in a restaurant, you love food, you develop food, you know, figure this out. And so I started talking to sommeliers at work, say, like, how do you pair wine with meats? What? Oh, we're looking for these special notes, we're looking for these flavors. And so I'm like, okay, well, what pairs well with this drastic impact of sage? Okay, so Asian influence, go figure, is the best pairing for sage flavor. Where you would think it would be more savory, like,
Yeah.
oh, I want to add some poultry seasonings, I want to make more things, which it's going to enhance it. It's going to exaggerate that flavor. Where
Yeah.
soys, gingers, garlics, turmerics, all those are actually neutralizers in a sense, where they're going to balance
Mm.
that flavor instead of impact it. And so I was like, all right, fine. So I created a couple Asian dishes, and my family and my wife and my 1-year-old daughter were going crazy over it. I'm like, okay, there's something to this thing. And so I posted on social media, and people were like, oh my gosh, we hate antelope. And I'm like, everyone hates antelope.
Yeah,
Why does everyone
everyone
hate?
hates animals.
Well, so then that kind of, as a corporate developing training manager, which I was,
Mhm.
how do I take what everyone hates and how do I make it better?
Yeah.
I used to look at restaurants. I would go into restaurants. How can I make this restaurant better? Sales are down, servers are bad, whatever. How can I fix the little things to make everyone go, oh, yeah, that's cool? And so I kind of just thrust myself into making antelope taste good and understanding the process of it. And then deciding, well, I'm not going to take it back to a butcher, because I started researching. It says butchers are 80% the cause of negative flavor meat because you're not getting your meat back, or laundry list of stuff. Now, don't get me
Mhm.
wrong. Amazing butchers. I'm friends with a lot of them. When you get a one-on-one butcher,
Mhm.
incredible. Go to Wyoming, second day of antelope season, go to a butcher house and see 75 antelope hanging outside in the sun.
Yep. Yeah.
That's the ones I'm talking about, not the guy in Tennessee that your family's been going to forever. And you pull up there and he knows your name or he comes picks it up at your house and it's 20 degrees outside. I'm talking about 90-degree Wyoming, Utah. As you understand, you're from Utah. You
Yeah.
understand in the middle of the end of September, October, you're still in this 80s, 90s degrees during the day and
Yeah.
drop down to 60s at night. You throw that thing in the back of your truck and it's
Oh
going to
yeah.
be, ugh.
That's
So
always
antelope,
what we say with antelope is my husband's like, I think a large part of it is the field care and getting it
100%.
on ice as soon as possible, especially with antelope, because
Yep.
like you said, we're driving in the heat, you stop by to show your friend, that kind of thing, and it's just goes downhill from there. And then if you take it to a butcher.
Yeah, and we have a rule. I mean, as soon as an antelope drops, it gets gutted.
Oh yeah.
I mean, tag gets filled out, notched tags on the leg, on the ear, on the horn, whatever it's got to be, and then that antelope's gutted and it's cracked open. And
Mhm.
and we were in Buffalo, Wyoming, 2 years ago, and we're sitting in this little diner, right? But we're walking past the diner, and in the back of the truck is 2 bucks, ungutted, 87 degrees outside, sitting there, boop, just big old racks, right?
Ugh.
And I'm like, oh, I was pissed. And I take new people to Wyoming every year. Like this year, I got 4 new guys going with me to hunt antelope.
Nice.
And I'm like, dude, they're like, oh, and I'm like, dude, this is wrong. I'm gonna find out who this is because we're gonna fix the situation, right? So I walk in this little diner and there's these 2 old guys sitting there. And one guy's like, oh yeah, this buck was awesome. Oh, and I was like, you guys like to taste the antelope meat? He's like, nah, it tastes like shit. Pardon my
Yeah.
French.
No, you're good.
And I went, what? I go, it tastes like shit because you've got 2 antelope that are ungutted in the back of your truck. When'd you shoot those? Oh, 9 o'clock. It's 11:45. I was like, well, your meat's spoiled, but it's still good. It'll
Yeah.
just taste like crap. We'll make it into sausage and we'll give it to friends. I'm like, all of a sudden, you're now going to share this negative impact, this negative flavor with
Mhm.
people that are going down the line, and they're all going to assume, well, I assumed, and you assume, and your husband assumes that antelope tastes like crap. Antelope is my top 3 favorite antelope or wild game meat now
Same.
because of how I handle it, how I treat it. People that are anti wild game eat it. They're like, oh my gosh, what is this? I'm like, antelope. Like, no, antelope tastes disgusting. Well, how did you prepare it? How was it cleaned? How was it field dressed? How was it hung? There's really no aging process in antelope. It's get it cold, get it broken down, get it in the freezer as fast as you can. It's
Mhm.
not like a deer, like, oh, let it hang for 2 weeks. There's not even that much meat on antelope. If you let that thing
Mhm.
hang, you're gonna lose, a 60 pounds of meat is gonna become 30 pounds of meat.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it all started, was an allergy, and then kind of just the process of me wanting to do better. And all of a sudden I became this role, this influencer and this idea of wild game eating that I didn't expect to do. Quit my job in the corporate industry, full time, wild game chef, writing for, I think I'm writing for 7 different magazines, 3 TV shows right now. And it's
Awesome.
cool too, because when I first started posting heart pictures, everyone made fun of me. Oh, it's disgusting. Oh, now during hunting season, every single person's holding a freaking heart and they're
Yeah.
all eating hearts and they're all smoking heart. There's people that yelled and screamed at me who are now like, oh, heart's my favorite thing. I've been cooking it for years. I'm like, I got a text from you last year saying you hated it. But you
Yeah.
go do your social media, you go let it, you let the world believe what you want to believe, and doing Frenched out racks. I mean, when I was doing Frenched out racks, guys were making fun of me for leaving bones on it. And now butchers are being asked to do crowns, crowns and Frenched out, boned out racks and T-bone steaks and all those other things that I was mocked for doing. But I just wanted, this is what I do. I can't go to the grocery store and buy meat like you. So I have to make it different. I don't just want a backstrap. I got to figure out how to make it real food for my family and not just have a steak every night.
Yeah. And I relate to that a lot because not that I have the same allergies you do, but I have a lot of intolerance to food as well. I can't do potato or modified food starch. And as we know, that's a huge factor in keeping things fresh that
Right.
are processed. And so as I've learned that, that's where I've really dove into, I grew up hunting, I grew up doing the thing, but same, it's like once I had to like learn how to take care of my body so I could be well enough to be a mom or a wife or even
Right.
be enjoyable to be around. That's kind of how I learned to do it too. And it makes you realize, for me, I'm like, you know what? If you can cook it with beef or anything else, I can use wild game.
Right. And I get asked that a lot. Like people are like, hey, I've got a bunch of ground elk. What do I do with it? Well, what are your favorite beef dishes? Oh, this. And I was like, oh, great. You know what you can make?
Yeah.
This. They're like, no, but I have elk. red meat's red meat. If I put it in a package and hand it to you, now mind you, there's a little lack of fat, so you have to understand the overcooking or the adding some sort of fat like an avocado oil
Mhm.
versus an olive oil because you got a higher fat content, or even getting some sort of lard, so like a duck lard or a beef lard or whatever you want to, something that you can add to that is going to
Mhm.
manipulate that meat and make it better. Like me, I add
Mhm.
zero fats unless it's a sausage.
Same.
Um, Even burgers, it's just 100% antelope, 100%
Mhm.
venison, 100. And once you understand that meat is meat, the world, go on Pinterest, type in ground meat recipes, pull up a list of things, and you're gonna be like, I can cook that, I can cook that, I can cook that.
Mhm.
Nothing. And so I think once, like on Pinterest, some of my pins have, 1 million pins. And I mean, I have plaques from Pinterest. Congratulations on 1 million pins. You go back and look, it's 98% women
Mhm.
that are pinning this stuff. And so I've reached out to a bunch of them like, hey, they're like, oh, my husband brings back blank and I don't know what to do with it. And I'm sick of making poppers. I'm sick of making chili. I'm sick of making spaghetti, which has actually been huge because we've seen this influx of females in the industry because of them cooking better and bigger food for their families. And
Mhm.
now they're understanding that the flavor is there. It is healthier for their families. So now they want to go out and get license and tags. I've had a lot of guys get very upset at me because hunting was their thing. Hunting camp was their thing.
Mhm.
Going out and doing this was their thing. And now their wife wants to tag along. And it's like, oh, because you came out with 7 recipes and we don't have enough deer. So she wants us to go get 2 more deer. The only way to get 2 more deer is if she goes out hunting. And I'm like, wake your freaking mind up, dude. Your
Yeah.
wife wants to spend time with you. And who cares if she shoots a bigger buck? That's more food for your family. That's a better
Right.
experience for the both of you. And like my wife, she absolutely has no desire to hunt. She has
Yeah.
nothing wrong with it, but she's like, no, that's your deal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go sit in the camper. I'm gonna read my book. You bring it home. The girls are out there doing stuff. She'll sit out there and talk with us, you know, but she has zero desire. I go, if my wife had a desire, I think we would never be home. Because
Mhm.
all of a sudden the spending I do would become like, well, hey, let's go shoot caribou together. Oh yeah. Now we can,
Yeah.
now we can spend 2 grand versus me going, I'm gonna go shoot caribou. She's like,
Oh,
well, you're not
now I
going
see
to,
my husband's mindset. I'm seeing
right.
that.
Yeah, you're not going to Alaska without me. And I'll be like, hey, you want to go to Alaska? She's like, let's
Yeah.
go.
That's a great
You know,
idea.
I mean, we're going to we go to Hawaii and I shoot axes. She sits on the beach and drinks Mai Tais. I mean, it is the perfect
Perfect.
combination. Now she goes home with a lot of animals because I'm like, hey, guess what? We shot 7, so you got these that you're taking home, and you got these you're taking home.
Yeah.
I bring friends on Southwest, pay for their flights, just so I get 2 extra bags to take
There you go.
home more meat. So, but yeah, I think that's a big thing with it.
A game changer in piece of gear for both myself and my family has been utilizing digiscoping. If you're not familiar, real quick, digiscoping is when you use your phone to capture photos or videos through your spotting scope or binoculars. And if you're wanting the best and most simple system to digiscope with, All In is hands down it. If you're out in the field and want to capture the moment through your optics without fumbling around or missing the shot, All In has you covered. What I love most is how seamless and user friendly the system is. Like, seriously, so easy to use. My oldest son, Cooper, and Rivers has used it before, but Coop was using it to film my bear hunt. It's that easy. He was able to capture the shot, follow the bear, and that way we were able to go back, look at the shot placement, and then where the bear went. And then, of course, when Cody got to us, we were able to relive those memories with him all over again. And now I can look back at that footage and watch it forever. It's been especially awesome for hunting with kids. You can show them exactly what you're seeing and then relive it later with clear and steady footage. It's a whole new level of connection and storytelling in the outdoors. And they just dropped their brand new Nexus system, which gives you a quick connect, universal fit across multiple optic setups, and you can connect it to your gun. It's built to be even faster, lighter, and more adaptable, perfect for when every second counts in the field. So whether you're chasing big game, scouting with the kids, or just want to document your hunts with ease, All In is a no-brainer. Head to allin.co and use our code RECKONING for 10% off your order. That's Allin, OLLIN.co, and use our code RECKONING for 10% off. You know how it goes. Your adventure is only as strong as your recovery and then your energy to start it. That's why I've been loving Mountain Ops' naturally sweetened line. If you haven't heard yet, I know so many people, including myself, have wanted there to be a naturally sweetened line when it comes to the favorites, Hydrate and Ignite. They are naturally sweetened with Reb M and monk fruit. They're just as effective with hydration and energy to fuel the day. Whether I'm working out, working, hunting, chasing the kids, or just trying to stay on top of everything, I always have a packet in my bag of either the Hydrate or Ignite and or both. Sometimes they stack really well, meaning you can mix them. Even my kids ask for the hydrate sticks when we're on the go, especially when we've been out hunting or camping and obviously after their sports sessions. And let's talk about their new product drop. I have been waiting months for this. I may or may not have gotten some inside scoop, and I'm excited. It's their clear protein. This is their new Magnum Clear Whey. It is so refreshing. So, what you do is you mix it with water, and it makes more of a protein water, if you will. It's light, fruity, not chalky or milky at all, and it's low lactose. Perfect for after a hot hunt or hard gym session. I'm kind of excited to try making like a protein jello with this. I think could be really fun for meal prep or just making like a refreshing smoothie or refreshing drink at the end of the day. What does it look like? It honestly looks like after you mix up Ignite or Hydrate. So it's a scoop of this clear whey protein with water. And like I said, you mix it, you froth it, wait a couple minutes because it does get a good froth. And then I mix it one more time and it looks similar to like a Hydrate or an Ignite. You get 23 grams of protein that doesn't feel like a shake. Seriously, it's a game changer for these hot months and just a new way to shake up your protein shakes. We also keep on hand always our immune gummies, slumber, and performance bars on rotation for the whole family. We love their hoodies and gear just as much as their supplements too. Mountain Ops is built for real people who live hard, love the outdoors, and want to feel their best while doing it. Head to mountainops.com and use our code BRIT for 20% off your order. Plus, every purchase helps donate a meal to a child in need. That's mountainops.com and use our code BRIT, BRITT, to stock up and give back.
I think so many people, and I hear that way too often, and it's something that I try and encourage other people is that, their spouse or their family members hunt and they just have the meat sitting in their freezer. So there was a year where we didn't draw out and things were tight and we had friends. I mean, it worked out in our advantage. We just have this meat sitting in the freezer. You guys might as well use it. But part of me is like, why aren't you guys
Right.
utilizing it? But it's because so many people say, and I know you hate this word gamey, but
Right.
that's what people associate with wild game is that flavor. And I think that's awesome that, you have those pins out there and women are able to find that or whomever to be able to do something with that. That it's becoming more accessible and they're realizing that.
Yeah, and I think I mean that I always get in a fight with the word gaming. You probably heard me say it a million times, but
Mhm.
and you'll hear a lot more of the wild game chefs telling you like that's not a word because of the fact that how I explain it is gamey has a negative
Right.
connotation. It's a
Mhm.
negative word. So automatically, if you tell someone like, "Oh, what does deer taste?" Oh, it's a little gamey. You're automatically telling them that it tastes like crap
Yeah.
because they've heard that word over and over again. If you
It's like,
replace
what's the
gamey with
flavor?
earthy,
Mhm.
sagey, nutty, you replace that gamey flavor because you can't have a gamey goose and a deer and an elk and a pheasant.
Right.
They all can't taste gamey. Gamey's not a flavor.
Mhm.
Gamey's a negative word. So if we take the negative word out, all of a sudden you open up these doors where I sit and I tell people, so waterfowl hunting, there's this game bird called a coot
Mhm.
or a mud hen or however you want to call it. And it's a black bird that dives down, eats the mud.
Mhm.
It's disgusting, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like to eat it. Well, it has a very fishy, muddy flavor. So how can we take that disgusting, nasty bird and make it something people want to eat and actually people want to pursue and do? Again, you look at what culinary flavors have very muddy, fishy type flavors. And you go for Cajun style cooking, you go for Asian cooking. The Asians down here in Southern California will go out and shoot 25 coot and not even shoot a duck because they love that fishy flavor because all their food has this fish sauce in it. It's got all this. And so a flavor that you and I don't like, another culture is obsessed with because it reminds them of what they grew
Yeah.
up with. Where
And they're
you and I grew
working
up
with
with,
the flavor versus
right.
against it.
And so, I mean, I went out and shot a bunch and we made sausages and we made gumbos and people are eating. They're like, oh, this is so awesome. What is it? I'm like, oh, it's all those coot we shot. They're like, no, it's not. Right. But you took out, you took out that negative thing. You took out
Mhm.
that, as I call it, the Western ew factor. Like Westerners were like, ew, gross, heart, ew, gross, whatever. Once you take that out and food is food and meat is meat, there's this balance that comes in. We were at the river 2 weeks ago and I did
Mm.
this whole smorgasbord of food for a bunch of people that never tried wild game. We did fried gator, we did catfish, we did dove, we did quail, antelope, pheasant. And I just started putting stuff out. They're like, well, tell me what it is. Like, nope, just enjoy it. Like, oh, this is that's alligator. And Lydia's like, I don't like alligator. I'm like, you had 12 pieces. And
Yeah.
I think that's where it is all there's this mindset that Disney's put into us that this animal is sweet and innocent. It's a bear. A bear's going to kill you if it has a chance. It's not going to go,
Mhm.
it doesn't have a brother and they're not a, wild spirit. And they're like, oh, don't kill me. No, they're going to murder their own cubs so their wife goes back into estrus so they can have more cubs because that's all they think about is sex and food. I mean,
Mhm.
oh, and fighting, but
And
whatever.
biting.
I guess that goes in between each one of them.
Yeah,
So
it is. It probably I know it brings me a lot of joy when somebody does eat something that is wild game and they don't realize it, like you're saying, and they're enjoying it. Does that, as a chef, is that something that brings you a lot of joy? Is watching people experience new things?
yeah, 100%. Like I said, my favorite point of a meal is when it's
Mhm.
dead silent because when it's quiet, everyone's
Mhm.
mouth's full. If
Yeah.
there's a lot of talking and there's, kind of scratching, when everyone's quiet, it means that all the mouths are full and all you hear is the ums, the ahs, the ooh, or the, dipping of more sauce. And, and for me, it's taking those people like who have been hunting their entire life, who has this preconceived notion is better than getting a new person into it.
Mhm.
Because a new person it's sort of like taking that baby for the first time and giving them something, right?
Yeah.
They're either going to like it or they're not, but they have no preconceived notions. It's like, oh, this pea is good. Like my daughter, she loved peas until her cousin's like, ew, peas are gross. She's like, ew,
Mm.
peas are gross, right?
Yeah.
Her cousin told her that they're disgusting. And so we're in Texas. I'm hunting hogs, all these hog guys, and they're just taking the hogs and throwing them in the dump because that's what they do.
Mhm.
And I take the hogs and I'm throwing them in the truck. They're like, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to make dinner tonight. They're like, we're not going to eat that crap. And then, so I make dinner and all of a sudden you have all these hog guys who are like, crap, we've been throwing that crap away for how long? Right. All of a sudden you broke this ideology that they had that it tastes bad. Or
Mhm.
javelina, go hunt javelina in the South with anyone from Arizona, Texas. They're going to tell you that javelina meat's the most disgusting thing ever. It's incredible. It is the most tender, flavorful meat that you can get, in that species. But they don't care because, again, grandpa told them, grandpa told them, grandpa told them. Well, grandpa was throwing it on a fire with no seasonings and didn't know and didn't have proper knives to process it with. And I think that's the hardest part is people get so caught up in the past that they don't want to advance to the future. Like
Definitely.
we're okay to advance with our technology in our archery equipment, our optics, our game trail cams, our gear that we're putting on our bodies to better regulate heat as we're hiking. But when it comes to cooking, everyone wants to be like, nope, it's got to be this way. And it's
Mm.
for me, it's how do I break that trend of saying like your grandpa's an awesome dude, but he's freaking wrong.
Yeah.
Your dad might be an amazing guy, but he overcooked all your steaks. Like I don't want to be that jerk, but I've done to many people. They're like, oh, this is how grandpa did it. And I was like, well, grandpa also chewed tobacco and drank and died at 60 years old. Do you want to do the same thing? They're like, no. I said, then get over it.
Yeah. Let's try.
Like grandpa's cooking, like my grandpa, phenomenal cook. He cannot cook dove to save his life, or he couldn't. He's passed on, but he overcooked it. It was like eating charcoal. And I hated dove growing up as a kid. Now that I understand it, I'm cooking dove and I'm eating, I can't shoot enough to eat enough, same as everyone else around me. My grandpa was an amazing chef, but when it came to certain things, he sucked. And my aunt stopped talking to me because I said my grandpa sucked at cooking. That's all she heard. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. I'm saying is that, do you remember the dove and the deer that grandpa would cook? Yeah, it sucked. And she's like, well, no, he was an amazing. Oh gosh, right. But you
Yeah.
get so caught up in that story. And I think even as for you as a mom, me as a dad, introducing our children to things without a preconceived notion
Mhm.
of like, even if my wife doesn't like, you know, I hate mustard, to be honest with you. But I'm not going to tell my kids that I hate mustard. I'm going to put mustard on and let them
Let
decide if
them
they like
decide.
mustard or not.
Yeah.
But so often we're told, I've been around hunting camps and campfires, as you want to talk about, and someone's like, "Oh, we're going to go hunt deer tomorrow." Just so you guys know, deer's a little gamey, and they've automatically put that in
Mhm.
that people's mind who are first time hunters. And so when we can go in, I say, "Oh my gosh, tonight with deer, I'm going to cook this, this, this." I've changed that narrative and I've made the story about what we can do with it versus the disgusting things it's going to do to us.
No, I love that. It's so true. And that's one of the biggest things too that's been important for my husband and I with our boys is the same thing with the antelope. My husband he got 2 doe antelope tags last year. First part of August, like hot as hell. And us, same thing. We've had antelope tags in Montana. Same thing. It's hot. You don't get it broke down in time, all that. So Cody's like, okay, it's gonna be hot. I know this. We're far from home. What can we do to try and we're doing this for the meat. Like, and we're obviously doing it so that we can, you know, help with the farmers out there they're getting into all their crop. So he's like, I'm just 2 big, huge things of coolers full of ice. Let's get it broke down as fast as we can. Sure enough, he gets 2 of them, one after another. And so we're each just working on an envelope, getting it into the cooler as fast as possible. And both him and I had that notion of antelope, like you said, where it's just disgusting. Because that's all we've had is not well processed antelope. That's just
Right.
the way it is. But we didn't want to say anything towards our kids because now we have a freezer full of antelope and we're going to use it. And sure enough, we smoke it and it's like dripping down our hands and we don't even get it on a plate because the kids are just eating it straight off the Traeger.
Right.
And I'm so glad that we like allowed them to have that mindset to make their own decision. And if one of them didn't like it, then they didn't like it and that's fine.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing, especially like being a bird hunter, you get so many
Mhm.
different waterfowl, right? Every duck tastes different. If it's a merganser or if it's a mallard, they're all going to have a different taste. And so for my daughters, it's not this is duck, right? Because I think that's another negative thing. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
hey, try this duck. They're giving somebody a mud duck versus a wood duck, right? So, hey, this is a gadwall. This is a wood duck. This is a mallard. Because all of a sudden people go, ooh, I don't really like mallard, but I love wood duck. I love pintail and I love gadwall, right? So all of a sudden you let them understand it and they want to go hunting it. So it's not, hey, this is antelope. Hey, this is the antelope that I shot and I processed. And all of a sudden people are like, why does your antelope that you shot and you processed taste different than Bill's who
Yeah.
shot in the same area, and took it to Joe Schmo Butcher? Why does yours taste better? This is where that door opens up. You can start to tell them. And I think by us raising our kids that way, it's going to be so much better because they're already going to be aware of that. We were quail hunting, and my 10-year-old. There was this guy walking by, and he's like, "Oh, quail tastes gamey," but I was about ready to turn around and be like, "What?" Right?
Yeah.
And my 10-year-old's like, "Oh my gosh, have you ever had plucked quail stuffed with, black bean salsa, marinated in Cajun spice, and then grilled on the Traeger with hickory pellets?" And the guy's like,
Yeah.
"Well, no." She's like, "Well, that's why you don't like it." She grabs her gun and walks away. And the guy looks at me and I go, "I don't know. It sounds delicious. I guess I'm gonna make it for dinner."
Yeah.
And this guy's like, "Well, wait a minute, wait a minute. So how did you cook that?" And she's like, "Oh, my
Yeah.
dad always makes it." And then I give him a card. And so I think even that in our kids, they're starting to learn that it's not quail, it's
Mhm.
how you prepare quail. It's not antelope, it's how you prepare antelope.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing that we need to get people back on track with is it's not an elk, it's meat. And how can we
Definitely.
utilize that meat to better, society, better ourselves, better our families, and ultimately look at the people who are anti us and say, okay, well, we're just doing it better. We're doing it old school, where you think you are, but you're actually doing more harm than we are.
Mm.
And we
Yeah.
get to experience it ourselves. Think
Mhm.
about how much joy someone has when they grow their own carrot, right? A 25-cent vegetable that takes them 3 months, 4 months to make. And they don't really do anything. They just water it. For us, we're out there getting how much more meat, and we take the same amount of time to prepare. We have that same joy as that vegan grabbing a carrot as we do. I mean, I got 3 freezers over here packed full of meat that friends are calling up. Hey, can I try alligator? Yeah, sure. It's in freezer number 1. Grab as much as you want, right? When that builds up this rapport, now I'm taking out people who have never thought about hunting before. They're like, well, I want antelope. I'm like, well, come shoot one.
No, it does. And I think for me too, last year, obviously through the craziness, I think there was a lot of comfort in when I know for me too, when I walk into the grocery store last year and shit's hitting the fan and shelves are empty, there was a lot of comfort in knowing like, and even my sister told me, like, if the apocalypse happens, like we're coming with you guys because
Yeah, how
I
many
know
of
you
those did
guys
I
can
get?
live
Oh
off the
my
land.
gosh, I got like 500 of those. I'm like, well, I go, my truck only holds so many people, so the first
Yeah.
people here. No, but like you were saying, is I have these freezers full of meat. And so I was hearing families that were like, we can't get any meat. And so I was just filling up ice chests and dropping off on their doors. And they're like, well, I don't like game meat. I was like, well, starve or eat it. Next thing
Yeah.
you know, this year, I'm taking out 3 dads of daughters that my daughters know
Mhm.
who have never hunted, never wanted to hunt, have gotten their hunting license and going out hunting because the meat I dropped off last April. And
Wow.
so you're trying to tell me that food doesn't have an impact? I think food has more of an impact on getting new people into our industry than a hot chick with a bow and arrow.
For
I
sure.
mean, people are going to follow her and she's going to get a lot of likes and oh my gosh, you're going to be awesome. But how many people is she actually getting into this industry
Mhm.
where you can be a beautiful lady, be an amazing cook, show your family, show these different sides, and you're going to get those other moms in Utah. You're a little bit different. You're not like that weird mom who's driving a minivan
Yeah.
and going to all the soccer games. You're taking your kids out and having good. Tell me more, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's where it kind of plays into it.
It is. It's true. It's funny. One time we were out fishing, just, random day fishing as family, not doing anything big or special, but I'm over there teaching Cooper how to put his hook on. That's my oldest. He's 10, showing him how to put it on and how to get the worm on and just the basics of fishing. And he looked at me and he's like, "You're not like other moms. You're a different kind of mom." And I was like, that's like the coolest compliment I've ever got from my kid, because I
Right?
knew in that moment it was because I'm there with him and I'm teaching him literally, like, you teach a man to fish. So
He'll take your fishing spot, but that's a different.
yeah, I mean, that's true. There's all kind I'm learning definitely that now he's getting into hunting and he's old enough. Mom's kind of getting the back seat, but that's what it's been all about for the last 10 years,
Right.
Your feet do more miles than your boss's Cybertruck.
I mean, shit.
You go off road, uphill, and in and out in the dark. Treat them like it. That's why I trust Sheep Feet. And now they've leveled up again with performance socks that actually hold up in the field. Breathable, supportive, and built to pair with custom orthotics. Sheep Feet are known for these. They are 100% customized to your feet. Every pair is different. Their process creates a precise mold of your foot, which means your orthotics aren't just supportive, they're made to work as hard as you do in the field. They are handcrafted in the USA. Every pair gets the care and attention your feet deserve. But Sheep Feet doesn't stop at orthotics. They've been expanding their gear game and now they've dropped brand new performance socks and I'm already obsessed. They're like buttery, airy, and smooth. You could I can't explain it. Put them on your feet and let me know. These socks, like I said, are breathable, supportive, and built for the long days on your feet, whether you're hiking or running around day to day. I love that they're dialed in for hunters, but still just as functional for training or chasing kids around. They also make my favorite hoodie of all time, the Hideout hoodie. Guys, I'm telling you, if your girl's going to be hunting with you or hiking, get her this damn hoodie. You'll thank me and she'll thank me. The more comfortable she is, the longer she wants to stay out there. And you need one too, because Cody loves it just as much. You've seen me wearing this constantly. I have it in black and green. It's built from grid fleece, so it keeps you warm when you're glassing and breeze when you're on the move. The Sherpa-lined Hideout pocket is wind and waterproof, and in making it a built-in hand warmer. It's got zipper pockets, thumb holes, and a high neck zip. All the things that a girl could want. I wear it for hunting, at the gym, and honestly, when I just need to hide from life. And if you haven't checked them out yet, don't sleep on the Stealth Bombers. They're ultra lightweight, silent stocking shoe built for performance and precision. These are an archery hunter's dream. The people behind this company are incredible and they've thought of everything. Don't settle for anything less than custom. Head to sheepfeetoutdoors.com and use code RECKONING for 10% off. And yes, Sheep Feet are HSA and FSA eligible. Tell them we sent you and use code RECKONING for 10% off. Now is the time to start planning for all those incredible outdoor adventures you're about to go on. Whether it's hitting up the ball fields for all the sports coming up, shed hunting, camping, or going to the lake, you know you're going to need to bring drinks and food. It's a necessity. Where are you going to put all that? In a cooler that you can easily lift because it's ultra lightweight? Are you going to be able to keep your drinks and food organized? Your snacks easily accessible without having to dig through the ice only to find it soggy? There's nothing worse. How about knowing that your cooler can float upright every time? No? Because I am with my Rugged Road cooler. You know I love this cooler and we keep getting more because we love them so much. We're converting all to Rugged Road. It's durable and it has top of the line ice retention. You know, we go to some hot places here in Utah during the spring and summer. If you're needing to upgrade your cooler, go to ruggedroadoutdoors.com/long for 10% off your next ultra lightweight, organized, floatable cooler. Tell them we sent you. That's ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use our code LONG, LONG, for 10% off your next cooler.
What's something like, as we're teaching our kids and even just getting out of, like you said, the mentality of like the way grandpa used to do things, what's something you see even just as, you know, you're in the middle of field care that people could be doing differently to help make sure that their meat is going to taste better or be in a better spot to eat it down the road?
You always get those old sayings like, "Oh, don't get hair on the meat." That's a lie. You always get these things that say that an animal that, you know, has been running is going to be tougher and it's going to have more negative flavor. That comes from the hemoglobins, that comes from the blood. And
Mhm.
so by bleeding out that animal, by allowing that muscle to rest, it's not going to impact it, right?
Mhm.
I've eaten an animal, an antelope, as you know, sometimes you shoot them and they run 500 miles because they're just stupid and then they just crash over dead.
Yeah.
That antelope can still taste as well as the doe that you headshot and she drops. Like you can figure that out. But I think when it comes down to it, for me, it's all understanding the proper way to do something, and doing it correctly. And if you do somehow do a gut shot, it happens. I'm not going to say it doesn't. We've all done it.
Mhm.
Even you make a perfect shot, something in there, that bullet ricochets wrong, goes through, pierces the diaphragm, hits the liver, hits whatever, right? The mistake a lot of people make is they take that knife that they were skinning with and still all funky and gutty and gross, and they start to process the meat with that same knife. So now
Mm.
what are you doing is you're spreading that flavor, that negative flavor that you don't want, all over the meat that you do want. So for me, I have a skinner and a butcher, right? So I have one that I'm going to gut and skin with, and I have one that I'm going to process and butcher down with. And
Okay.
I think, to me, that's one of the biggest things is that's the first one. Second of all is getting that animal taken care of as fast as possible, even on the temperature. Like we're out rabbit hunting or whatever, right? And you have guys that just start throwing rabbits in their pack. Well, you can gut that rabbit by just squeezing the rabbit like a banana, and all the guts pop out. It's the craziest thing in the world.
Mm.
Most guys don't believe me until they watch me. And now the guts are out of this animal. It's cooling. It's down. For turkey, you shoot a turkey, but your husband's still waiting for a turkey. You can right where its anus and everything is. If you cut around that like you would if you were cutting out a deer
Yeah.
sphincter or anything like that, and then there's two little bones on each side of the pelvic bone. You break those open, you can stick your whole fist in there, pull out all the guts, and still have a perfectly good turkey that you can show up on your fan, that you can pose, that you can. But guess what? All those
Cool.
guts are out of that turkey, and you can clean it out, and it's still this beautiful turkey. You can hang it, you can pluck it, you can do whatever you want. But now the guts are out, and so when you start to look at field care and you're going to get guys out there that can tell you to do it all different. But for me, it's getting that animal cool as possible.
Mhm.
Keeping, even if it gets dirty, it gets dirty. You can always wash it later. And just I think don't be afraid to screw up, because even if you puncture it, so many guys are like, don't puncture the stomach. Puncture the stomach, get it out, wash it out. It's completely fine. It's the guys that puncture the stomach, don't wash it out, throw it in the back of their truck, let it sit for, 5 hours as they drive home. Go to Walmart, has these blue jugs. They're about yay big, and they've got that little pop top that pops out,
Yeah.
that you can wash. They're over in the
Water.
fishing area for water, right? That's 5 gallons of water. I always have one in the back of my truck, because guess what? You get an animal back, you can now put that animal's legs in the back of your truck, so it's kind of angled face down. You can run that through it, and you can rinse that whole animal out with 5 gallons of slow running water,
Yeah.
just like that. And it costs you $8 to get one of those blue things in the back of your truck. It's a lifesaver. And then now you can throw that animal back there, and you can throw. You don't even have to break it all the way down. Take an ice, big old bag of 20-pound ice, shove it in that chest cavity, throw it in the back of your truck, and drive home. It's clean. It's getting cold. You're now having to take that 2-hour drive home without this meat just sitting there. And I think that's your biggest concern, is handling with your knives in your hands.
Mhm.
And that's why I don't wear gloves either, because I think people
Okay.
get so caught up in gloves
Yeah.
that they forget if I get my hands dirty, I can wash them real quick and get back at it. Where a lot of guys, they think, oh, a glove on, hands dirty, I'll just keep pulling stuff. And they're not changing that glove out. If you get crap all over your hand, you want to get the crap off your hand.
Yeah.
You get crap on a glove, it's a glove. And so you'll keep doing gloves. And so for me, I don't use gloves just for that same fact that if my hands are clean, my meat's clean. The gloves are they're gonna just, I don't know. That's just what I learned from a lot of old timers is they're watching them use all these gloves. And I'm like, well, it's gross. Well, yeah, but it's a glove. And so I'm like, well, screw it. I'm not gonna wear gloves, just for
Wash your
that.
hands.
Yeah.
What are your favorite knives for your butchering and then skinning?
For skinning knives, I really like the silverware knives. They're out there. Jeff Raleigh, who's a professional skateboarder, turned into Extreme Hunter and the #1 sheep guide in the West. Created this knife. It's sort of like a Havalon knife,
Yeah.
but it doesn't fold into itself, so it doesn't get all gunked up with stuff.
Okay.
And it fits better in the hand, and it's got a non-slip. It's absolutely incredible.
Cool.
And then Victorinox by Swiss Army, I think makes the best butcher knives. They have, which I'll just show you.
Nice.
Because people are going to watch. Might look intimidating,
Okay.
but this is my favorite style of butcher knife, the scimitar knife. It's a 9.5-inch scimitar knife by Victorinox. I've got small ones that are 6 inches. I have bigger ones that are 12 inches, but this is that 10-inch. To me, that's my #1 butcher knife. And then this is that silverware knife that I was talking about. So you can kind of see the grip of it.
Yeah.
And so it fits a lot better in your hand, doesn't slip, it doesn't get all gunked up.
Yeah, I like that.
Critters. But I think if you're going for it, the Victorinox are fairly inexpensive.
Okay.
You can get one for like $40. They stay razor sharp, but it's intimidating at first because it's so long. But when you start to butcher down your animal and you realize that straight cut down the back strap one time and the back strap's off versus nicking and poking. And for me, being a photographer and a chef, it's all about presentation and cuts. And so sometimes I'll sit there looking at people. I'm like, stop it. Cause they're just hacking away at stuff. I'm like, one smooth cut makes it look completely beautiful on one side. So when you're when you're presenting it, when you're taking a picture, it's gorgeous and beautiful and it's not disgusting. So Victorinox, scimitar style blades, absolutely incredible.
Those are great
for all butchering.
recommendations.
Yeah.
I'm going to be looking into those. I need a good butcher knife.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm currently slowly.
You're the hack and whack.
Yeah. And it's not my proudest moment.
What's funny too is because I take out new adult hunters every single year. Last year I think it was like 75 new adult hunters during the pandemic, and I always pull out these blades, and everyone's like, intimidated. And then after the end, I hand them a small blade. They're like, "Give me the big blade," because even when you're taking off silver skin, it's like filleting out a fish. It's one long swoop, and all the silver's off. Versus you sitting there hacking away at all the silver skin on the back of the back strap or on the inner thighs. You can really break down muscle groups really easy with it. So
nice. I'll definitely be ordering those as soon as I get off this call.
Yeah. And text me if you have any questions.
Yeah, I will. That's awesome. So as we're rolling into here in Utah and a lot of other places, we're all getting ready to get into deer and elk season. What are some of your favorite recipes that you would recommend somebody trying? The thing I saw about your website too is, last night I was kind of just going through stalking it again real quick.
And I'm completely redoing it. So like I have like 200 recipes that was my very first blog I made back in 2008.
Wow.
And so I just keep throwing recipes on there, but I'm gonna have a whole new interactive. You can type in garlic and it'll pull up, sort of like Pinterest, pull up every recipe that has garlic in it. So
nice. Yeah.
Or potato starch. And don't have anything with potato starch.
Perfect. I like it. That'll be helpful. Yeah, Cody and I was like looking at stuff and he's kind of looking over me and he saw your I guess like egg roll things.
Oh, I have a lot of egg rolls on there. Or the Big Mac egg rolls, I think, are the last thing.
And he just like, yes. But you look at your pictures and, obviously you come from a restaurant background and it all looks so beautiful. It looks like restaurant quality food. But then when I look at making it, this is what I loved about it is it's simple. It wasn't overwhelming and scary.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing when I started this, is my brother-in-law joked around and said that I was the Rachel Ray of the hunting industry because all my meals were.
She's my favorite too, by the way.
Oh, I mean, I've actually written recipes for her,
nice.
Which is awesome. But my thing was looking at it from this fact of the other wild game chefs out there are utilizing ingredients that you can't find at your local grocery store. Now, talk about someone in the middle of Tennessee that all they have is the Walmart grocery store. That's the only grocery store they have. And you want them to go spend $40 on black truffle oil for 1 ounce no.
Yeah.
And so we had it in one of the restaurants. It was all recipes had to be under 10 steps from start to finish. And so that kind of stuck with me, is where I'm a stay-at-home dad unless I'm out hunting. Like my wife, she is a career lady. She loves her career, works for the government, absolutely loves it. And so for me, I've got kids at home that I'm doing homeschool with. I'm that stay-at-home mom with a
Yeah.
beard, right? And so how can I make meals that I can still make an amazing dinner for my kids and get homework done and make sure that baths are taken so that mom gets home, we're eating dinner and we can hang out and play as a family. And so that's kind of that angle I took at, and that's kind of where I wanted to make it kind of stupid simple, where it doesn't have to be overthought. It doesn't have to be methodical. Sauces can taste amazing with 2 or 3 ingredients. The same teriyaki sauce that I can give you that has 6 ingredients, another guy's going to have that has 14 ingredients, and most of them are going to cost you an arm and a leg. Where the basic, brown sugar, soy sauce, garlic, ginger, water, and cornstarch are going to make an absolutely incredible teriyaki sauce. You don't have to add all those other crazy ingredients. Now, I always tell everyone my recipes are a base. So if your family likes more stuff, add more stuff. I don't care. Like, I did all the hard work of figuring out the basics of it. Like it's like Legos. I mean, you have boys, you understand Legos.
Yeah.
You get that box of Legos and there's a picture on there and there's an instruction book and you make that. Once that's done and gets stepped on, now it becomes this amazing world that you can sit there and recreate by using all the same pieces, by using the same mythology that they did. They took all the hard work out of it. Your kid's like, I didn't like this steering wheel here. I'm going to put it in the back. I didn't like this. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Mom, look what I made. It's still a car. It still has all the same parts that the original car had, but it's their own creation. And I think that's the coolest part about recipes is you could take those egg rolls and be like, our family's really not big on Thousand Island. We're really big on fry sauce because we're from Utah. So I'm gonna take out the Thousand Island. I'm gonna add in fry sauce. And look, do I care?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. There's a lot of chefs out there that I talk to who are like, this is my recipe. You do not change it. I could care less. I mean, I put in most of the recipes. I put like 3 cloves of garlic. I'm putting 40 cloves of garlic because I literally have an obsession with garlic. But I'm not going to put 40 cloves on there because you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, that's too many. I'll put what I think is standard. And fix it, modify it however you want. So back to the question though, recipes, I think it all depends on, I don't know. It's like picking a favorite kid. We all have one. We just don't want to.
Let's say you're like new, like you've never cooked with wild game before. And your husband's got elk.
I would say a good steak recipe is on my website, on my Instagram, saved in my Instagram stories is a recipe called Super Juice. Super Juice was just a basic marinade that I created, and my daughter said it was her super juice, and so that's kind of where the recipe stuck.
Yeah,
it's become my number one recipe for a lot of new people, and they use it on everything from duck, quail, pheasant, chucker to elk, moose, caribou. It's got simple ingredients. It's got soy, Worcester, rosemary, thyme, cracked pepper, smoked paprika, and you just marinate that, and then you can grill it. You can put on the Traeger at 225 degrees until it reaches 145, 150 degrees. You can throw it in a cast iron skillet. You can put it in the oven, however you want to do it. But I think that base marinade is my go-to for when I have to cook for a lot of new people. Just for the fact that it's simple, it's packed full of flavor, and everything in there. Remember the very beginning of our conversation, I talked about flavors that will help balance out the wild flavor of an animal. All those things are in that marinade, and it's a very balanced part of that. And so super juice, I think it's if I had to make that one meal for anybody, it would be a beautifully cooked venison steak or moose steak or elk steak or whatever, with that marinade, and then a side of garlic mash and making a red wine gravy or something like that.
Nice. Yeah, and I'll make sure we link that in the show notes so that people can definitely get through and get that. But I
just don't make
agree.
poppers. Don't make poppers.
Don't make poppers?
No. I mean, you can make poppers, but everyone, that's all they want to do. They're like, oh, look, I have a new recipe for you. Let me tell you, it has cream cheese, jalapeno. I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah, weird.
Really? I mean, if you're doing a party, great. But
that is always the first thing when you Google any type of wild game. It's like, make a popper.
And I made I think it was for Vortex. I made a popper steak, is what I called it. So I
Mm.
took a venison steak, seasoned it real good, cast iron skilled it, but then I made a jalapeno and cream cheese or jalapeno bacon and cream cheese sauce for on top
Mm.
of it. So now you had a meal, right? So you had this
Mhm.
beautiful cooked steak with that cream cheese, bacon, jalapeno, cream sauce on top. And so now when you're eating it, you get all the same flavors that you love, but you're actually eating a meal, not just like an
Meal.
overcooked piece of. Because by the
Yeah.
time it takes to cook the bacon, your wild game is overcooked.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good idea too. Doing something like that. So you've mentioned your daughters a couple times and your wife's not big on the hunting thing. She goes with you guys, does your adventures, but sounds like she's totally content staying back and reading a book. I get that some days, definitely. What has it been like introducing your daughters to the outdoors?
I don't really think they had a choice. Now they have a choice in if they want to continue, if they want to go out. But I
Mhm.
think for me, it was always it's a part of who I am as a person. And so
Mhm.
as being their dad, it's a part of being their dad. And so my wife, let's see, September 8th is when my youngest was born. Well, September 1st is dove season. My wife was at the river with a week left to have a baby, sitting in the trailer in the air conditioning while I was out shooting dove.
Nice.
And I had our 3-year-old out in the field with me, running around picking up birds, just for that fact of like, this is who we are. And I remember the very first time I took out, it was the very first blog post I ever wrote. The very first, like, kind of what thrust me into getting a lot of traction. It was the first thing I had over, 200,000 people read or review. And my youngest was 4 years old, and we were in the deer or out in the dove fields. And this dove comes flying over. She's like, Dad, 12 o'clock. And I turn around and I shoot the dove, and it lands like 1 foot in front of us. It's just a perfect whoop. And she sits on the ground. She picks up this bird and she starts crying. And I'm like, oh no, like
Yeah.
I ruined it. Like I now have a vegan, like that's all these things going through my head. Like, gosh, but as a dad, I'm like, I got to fix this situation. I got to understand what's going on. And so we have 30 dudes out there, right? My daughter's the only girl out in the field. She's
Mm.
4 years old. And all these guys are around us. They're shooting, they're shooting, they're shooting. And I put my safety on, put my gun down, and I go sit down in the dirt with my little daughter. And I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, it's dead, Daddy. It's dead. And I'm like, it is dead. We had this long conversation about death with a
Yeah.
4-year-old, which I think a lot of people don't ever do anymore. It's like, oh, we're not going to talk about death. Oh, it's too scary. It's too
Yeah.
this, it's too that. And her and I had this conversation about where we don't kill to kill, we kill to eat. I said, hey, what's your favorite meal that we cook with dove? She's like, teriyaki dove, Dad. I love teriyaki dove. And I was like, okay, well, we're going to make this into a teriyaki dove. And she's like, well, one's not enough. You should probably shoot more. And she stood up and she put it in her little bag. And she's like, okay, Dad, let's. And I think at that moment for her, she realized it
Mhm.
wasn't about what these other guys are out here doing, where they're like, oh, I shot two. Oh, look at me. It was a dad and daughter going to go
Mhm.
home and cook dinner for a pregnant wife.
Yeah.
And we went back and we made dinner, and she helped me pluck every single bird, and she helped me make the sauce, and we throw them on the Traeger, and she's all excited, and we sit down and she's telling the story about the hunt. This bird right here, who knows if it was the bird? This is the one that I picked up first. And this is, and I wanted to create and this 4-year-old telling the story. And for me, that was that moment that kind of shifted my thought process. And when I started taking out adults, because if a kid who doesn't understand it can have this much joy, what about a parent that doesn't understand it? Because I think so often we're so caught up in taking our kids out or taking other people's kids out.
Mhm.
If we don't get their parents involved or we don't get their older siblings involved, the kids aren't going to go.
Yeah.
You've never had a 10-year-old. Your 10-year-old's never got in the car, drove to Bass Pro Shop or Cabela's, got out, spent $1,000 on new guns, ammo, drove back, said, "Hey, Mom, I'm going hunting tomorrow," and gets in the car and takes off. It's never happened.
Yeah.
But if Dad goes, "Hey, Coop, you want to go to Bass Pro Shop?" Yeah, Dad, I want to go. Well, let's go, buddy. Right? All of a sudden, there's this bond there where Mom says, "Hey, let me show you how to put this hook on and throw a worm on, and you become the best mom in the world." There's these ideas that happen. So if I can take out the parent, you're a first time hunter, and I can make a recipe that gets you excited to go shoot a deer, I now have a
Mhm.
buy-in. I now have a drive. And so I treat my kids as adults, and I treat adults as
Yeah.
kids. And if I can treat the adults as kids and get them in that kid's mindset, then I think I win. And if I can take my child, who people said she's a girl, I get attacked I mean, I think you commented too. I had,
Yeah.
298 direct messages in an hour about how kids and dogs shouldn't be in the field, especially little girls. Boys are fine, little girls aren't.
It just blows my
And
mind.
uh and for me, it's coming out at the haters with the respect and
Yeah.
the knowledge base that comes from it. But it's also telling my daughters, like, I show my daughters those. I'm like, look at these comments. And they're like, why can't we go in the field? Right. Because it's an empowerment to them. It's them
Yeah.
saying, prove them wrong. Like my oldest, she's 11. She got her hunting license last year. And so she went out to shoot dove for the first time, missed every single one, didn't shoot one down at all. You ask her about that dove hunt, and it's like she killed every single one. Oh my gosh, I blew the tail feathers out. If I would have let it
Yeah.
this much more. Oh, and then the dog ran out and found dad's. And not once does she say it was horrible because I missed. This year, we've already been taken out to the range, and we're going out to the shooting range, and she's slaying the clays. And I'm like, dang it, man, she better not outshoot me. Um, but my youngest, she was born when I started from field to plate.
Mhm.
So she's 7. So right when I quit my job is kind of when she was a year old. So all her mind can think of is daddy being in this industry.
Mhm.
And so for her, it's Christmas, birthday, she wants duck calls and turkey calls. And she wants to come out. And I came home from turkey hunting and I bring my coolers in because I was up north and I hear running downstairs, garage door open. And she comes running out. She doesn't even hug me. She runs straight to the coolers, rips it open, looks at them, slams it, and starts crying and runs upstairs. I went, "Oh my gosh, you're my hunter. Like you're my
Yeah.
little huntress." My wife's like, "You better go up there." She is pissed. She's yelling and screaming at you. So I walk up there. I'm like, "June, what's wrong?" And she goes, "You plucked them without me. Plucking is my job." And I was like, "What, honey? I was 12 hours away. I had to get him home." Like,
Yeah.
and so she was just sobbing. And so I remember she looked at me. She's like, "But did you save the feathers?" I was like, "I saved all the feathers." She's like, "Okay, I'll forgive you this time." 'Cause she likes to do crafts and arts.
Yeah.
But I think also looking at a kid that wants to go pluck a freaking turkey, that
Mhm.
says something for raising them right and raising them for this. And I mean, I can point to one of these skulls behind me, and my daughters will tell you the story.
Yeah.
They'll tell you the story of that bear that is over there, the bear
That
skull.
way. Yeah.
They'll tell you the story of that bear hunt, and they'll tell you the meals we had, and they'll tell you more than I can remember.
That's my
Um,
kids too. It blows my mind.
Yeah, and I'm like, What?" She's like, "Oh, yeah, I saw the picture and blah, 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 blah. You dragged it this far." I was like, "I never told you that." "Oh, no, but you were telling so and so on the phone, and I heard you tell." And so I think once you raise these kids, and especially daughters, I think it's easier for you to have a son
Mhm.
and get them out hunting because that's what
Mhm.
boys do, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay to take boys to deer camp, and it's okay for boys to pee outside, and it's okay for the boys to wanna wear real camo and not pink camo. It's okay for that. But you take out a girl and all of a
Mhm.
sudden they can't pee outside. Well,
Yeah.
my daughters can pee in a coffee can better than a boy can pee in a coffee can. True
Yep.
story. Um, they're quieter in the blinds. I've hunted with more female. I mean, I've taken out more females than males and new adults. Women are very, very methodical when it comes to hunting.
Mm.
And guys are all about the kill.
Yeah.
Girls are all about what leads up to the kill and making a clean, ethical shot. Now, I'm not saying that some guys aren't, but most women that I take out, their methodical mindset when they think through something
Mhm.
blows my mind.
Mm.
And that's why I think women are better overall hunters than guys because of that mentality they have. And they have that more at peace. They can calm themselves down a lot faster.
Mm.
Guys are so full of adrenaline and testosterone that we're like, gotta be a man. Where when women miss, they miss. And they don't
Yeah.
there's a lot less emotion when a woman misses than when a man misses. When a man misses, it's a lot of self, "Oh, I'm
The
horrible."
pride.
Right, and when a female misses, it's like, "Whew, what can I do better next time?
Yeah.
Hey, was my arm where it was supposed to be? Was my shoulder" Okay, so if I was to aim a little right, their mind's always working, and so seeing 2 little girls work through that process, like when my daughter missed dove, "Daddy, what am I doing wrong?"
Mm.
The guy next to me has a son who was born 2 days after my daughter, and his son's like, "Ah, I missed. I'm horrible. My daughter's going, "Dad, how do I shoot better?" "Well, put your legs a little farther apart." "Okay, okay, okay." So she literally, it's not even a joke. She drew lines in the dirt where her feet need to be so that she can go the same exact stance every single time. Well, that little boy was running around like a crazy maniac, just wanted to go shoot a dove.
Mhm.
And I think that's where it comes down to. It was people say that girls can't do it. I'm like, the problem is we don't give the girls the lane to do it. We don't
Yeah,
allow them to be girls in the field. We want them to be guys in the field. And so as
definitely.
a dad of daughters, I'm trying to figure out, how can I let them be little girls in the field? How can I let them be women in the field? And
Yeah.
looking at, I've taken out a lot of females on Under Armour hunts and stuff like that and guided for them. And there's the women I can tell that grew up with a dad who loved them and made them into the hunters they are. And there's the girls who are huntresses, who are in it for the looks, the likes, and that kind of stuff. And the problem is the girls that are in it for the looks and the likes are the ones that our daughters are looking up to. The
Yeah.
ones that are doing it because their passion that they have for the outdoors. Our daughter, they're not being given this limelight. Companies don't care about them because they're not pretty enough. They're not
Mhm.
strong enough. They're not, they don't kill the biggest buck. Well, the only reason they kill the biggest buck is because their husband paid $100,000 for them to go hunt this buck.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it firsthand. Or their
Mhm.
husband shoots the deer for them and they pose in the picture.
Mhm.
Because guess what? She's going to get a lot more sponsorships than this fat dude drinking, Busch Light
Yeah.
with a beard.
Yeah, I relate to that a lot in the fact of I drew a limited entry deer tag in the Book Cliffs in Utah, and that is like holy ground for mule deer.
Right.
My youngest, Rivers, was a year old. So it was like started off with the boys that were putting in as a group because they had higher chances and they're like, well, like you don't have any points, you'll lower our limits, what I'm like, all right, piss off. Like put me in by myself. I drew out, which was like a good hoorah for me. But then I drew out this big tag and I realized I have a baby, you know? And it was one of those things where I look forward to going back and being able to do it again because it'll be a completely different hunt now that my kids are older. But it was a very good eye opener for my husband to see when he draws a tag. He knows the kids are watched. He can go put on a stock. He can go up to them and he can do it and he can put in all that time. But when my baby's still depending on mom to feed him and do all the things, it completely changes that because of the timing and the what I have to put with a brand new baby. But it didn't take away from the fact, in my head I was thinking I was going to get this monster of a mule deer and all these things, but I had the prime opportunity with both my boys there to be able to get the deer, harvest it, have the meat, and have those memories of the boys with us as I was able to draw back my bow and get it. And I felt like after the fact there was a slight little point where it is the way that the world is in social media. When I posted my picture of me with my Book Cliff deer and it's not this big old monster, there was a point where I'm like, you know what? I am so damn proud of myself for the circumstances and what I did. And just because, I had this hunt and just because I'm a female doesn't mean that I didn't get a quote unquote trophy. Because
Right.
those memories and that meat in itself was a trophy. But I do have to say too, from a stance of a daughter of a man that raised her hunting, it is so awesome to see you doing that with your daughters because I'll tell you, from my point of view, being now I'm 32 years old, I've done a couple hunts with my dad here and there, but there's times where I've been by myself hiking, miserable. You get into those moments where, it's tough. Stuff is tough. But I still every once in a while will hear the little things that my dad had said to me as a little girl, like, come on, sis, you got it. You're doing good. Or just like a couple more steps or walk this way. Or like when we're doing a sneak, I can hear his voice telling me just the right way to place my feet. And so I just want you to know, I'm sure your daughters are going to carry those little tidbits that you sit and sprinkle in with them. I think they'll hear their dad's voice one day as they're on their hunts.
I sure hope so. 'Cause like I said, I grew up with my dad in the bird field, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had the opportunity to take my dad out on his first big game hunt. And I always tell the story, it still kind of gets me all choked up. As a kid, we're not supposed to do that, right? You're always supposed to have your dad take you out. And so to be able to take your dad out and experience
Mm-hmm.
everything that a parent would experience, like telling him to breathe and calming him down and
Yeah.
getting him set up. And so now I look at my daughters and it's funny because one of my oldest ones, her friend, wanted to go hunting with us. So we went turkey hunting. And I sort of like you were saying, like, just keep going, right? We have a saying, it's pick a spot and make it to that spot.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're hiking up a hill, pick a tree,
Yep.
make it to that tree, pick another point. Even if it's a rock in front of you, just you got to give yourself a drive and a will to get to the next spot, right? Her friend's crying and whining because we're hiking up this thing. In the back of behind me, I hear, just pick a spot, pick a tree, pick a rock. And I went, all right. Like,
That's what I say to her.
Because my dad told me when we were bird hunting, like we were walking and we're tired, pick a spot, walk to that spot. I tell my daughter, pick a spot, walk to that spot. And then I hear her tell her friend, pick a spot.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's just, I don't know. I look at something like that and I go, you can bash me all you want for being a dad who takes their daughter out. I really could care less. But I look at all these parents who sit at a soccer field with their kids and don't actually engage with their kids.
Mm-hmm.
They just sit there and watch their kid play soccer. And their kid has a coach and their kid has everything else. And they're a part of the game, but they're not actually a part of that kid's life in that area, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sitting in the stands is completely different than being there with you.
Mm-hmm.
And so people always ask, like, hey, why don't your daughters play sports? It's not that my daughters can't play sports. It's that sports take place during hunting season.
Yeah.
And my daughters would rather be out walking fields and hiking and fishing and hunting and collecting rocks and, flicking bugs and doing everything else that a kid can do, especially in Southern California where we're looked at as, devils out here because, hunting is very anti. I open up my garage door and everyone's like, oh, murder. And so it's just one of these deals that I really look at it. And so I appreciate you talking about it because I think so often females still, they could care less about, they always say that they care about the younger girls, but in all reality, all they really do is care about their look to the younger girls and not really what the younger girls, like, I don't know. There's women in the industry that I don't want my daughters to look up to.
Mm-hmm.
And there's women in the industry that I'm like, hey, check out this girl. They're like, yeah. She's nobody. I'm like, but look at what she's doing and look at the family she's raising. Look at, she's out there killing, she's posting a picture of a forky and loving it. Yeah. That needs to be you. My first buck was a little fork and I remember it was the best buck ever. And I've been blessed to, hunt all over and kill a bunch of different critters, but I'd go shoot a doe over a buck any day just for the fact that you still get all the same emotion, but there's no judgment. Mm-hmm. There's no competition.
Some of our best hunts are not the quote unquote trophy animals.
Right.
And it's kind of a catch-22 because when I was growing up, I was trying to be fit into men's camo clothes. There was no girl stuff. Nothing was made for females. And so I was always like definitely the odd man out in this situation. But now, like you say, it is hard because it's great. There's more female doing it, but now you've got to kind of try and help them find the correct, I guess, quote unquote, role model as well.
Yeah. And again, I think being somebody within the industry and knowing a lot of these females on a personal level,
mm-hmm.
it's, I don't know. I'm not going to bash any of them because they're all amazing women.
Yeah.
But they all do have their desires and wants. And for me, I've said it from the beginning, I have no desire to become famous. I have no mm-hmm. desire to be anything other than a dad, a husband, and a role model to people who want to just do it a different way and want to be a part of it. And, I've gotten a lot of films and I've got to do a lot of cool things. But when it comes down to it, when I go home, I want my daughters to look at me and feel respected and feel honored and feel loved. And if I can't come home and have them look at me the way that I want to look at myself, then I'm not going to do it. And I've turned down huge paychecks from companies that I just look at and say, I can't be a part of it. Mm-hmm. And I get told I'm an idiot by a lot of people in the industry. I get the companies are like, dude, but here's the check. Look at all the zeros. And I'm like, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if my daughters and wife don't respect me, I could care less. If social media ended today, whatever. Like 100%. I'm still going to go antelope hunting on October 1st. I'm still going to go take my daughters out to the river and fish and hunt dove September 1st.
Yeah.
Like nothing changes for me. But you look at all these people and it's like, if social media ended, what would happen to your life?
Mm-hmm.
For me, I care less. I'll go out and hunt deer with you and we'll go have fun in Utah and we'll make fun of Utards and fry sauce and we'll have a good time. And we'll go to Strawberry Reservoir and go fishing and we'll have a good time because of the fact that I think there's this different mentality that comes from it. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're a female and you want to be beautiful and portray yourself beautifully and wear bikinis while you're fishing, I'm going to empower you to do that because I think it's huge. and you shouldn't be body shamed in any way, negative or positive. If you're a beautiful, voluptuous woman and you want to do the same thing, I'm going to support you. It's when you do it in a way that is disrespectful to yourself and disrespectful to the other women that are there. That's where I'm going to look at it hindrance. But I've got female in this industry that are some of my best friends in the world, and I look at them and they post stuff, and I'll post them like, "Hey sister," she's like, "Yeah, I'm going to take that down."
Yeah.
Because of the fact that I can sit there and say, "Hey, this isn't who you're portraying to be," and they're like, "You're right. I don't want to be like that."
Exactly.
And so I think that's huge. And I think don't get me wrong when I say all women, because I don't think it is.
No.
But I do think there are those few that you're just like, gosh, why don't you just go pose for another company,
Right?
and be an influencer for another company, and they're still posting the same deer that they killed 3 years ago.
No, I agree.
Photoshopping out logos.
Yeah.
Which I've seen a lot of people do.
Wow. Yeah, I'm like, there's a time growing up that was like what there wasn't very many females in the hunting space growing up, especially,
I think you had
back in the 90s and 2000.
You had like Jules McQueen.
Mm-hmm.
You had, that's really
like when Lee and Tiffany, and when Tiffany
Yeah.
was Lee and Tiffany, I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, that's so cool.
right.
Because finally that started coming out. But even before then, it was like the only time you saw some kind of female being promoted for a long time was your creepy uncle's garage calendar. And that's the kind of stuff, distasteful stuff, that unfortunately you come across on Instagram, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so that's why I stick to, I don't really follow, like, the only people I've ever blocked on any social media are hunters. I've never blocked a vegan,
Yeah.
vegetarian, and anti, but
Nice.
it's when the disrespect comes from hunters to other hunters. I'm like, dude, see ya.
Mm-hmm.
And I get a lot of flack for that from a lot of people. They're like, well, dude, you blocked me. I was like, because you're disrespectful.
Yeah.
And you're disgusting, and you're rude, and you're violent, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Like, I think when you look at some of these people who just want to do it for the likes and love of that stupid show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. I think it gives us a bad name as hunters and anglers.
It
as
does.
Females and males. It puts a macho stereotype onto me, which in all reality, I'm a crybaby. I've cried more times on camera on huntings than you always get the video guy like crying. I go, shut up.
Yeah,
But I think it's huge, and I think that you being a female who's interviewing other people than just females and talking from a standpoint of a mother and a campfire, I think it's huge, and I hope it goes well, and I hope that you continue to be a part of that and outshoot your husband. That's what it's all about.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. I do. I hope that I can provide a space for people that want to get into it, and for other mothers and families, because that's where we've bonded the most as a family. I can't imagine not being able to go out and experience outdoors, not only by myself but with my kids and my husband. So that's what I'm hoping we can bring around. I appreciate you coming on and talking to us. Do you have anything exciting coming up that you can tell us
I'm working
about?
on this year I did a culinary grand slam with a buddy of mine, Tony Caggiano, for NWTF.
Okay.
So we went out and we shot the whole slam of turkeys in 2.5 weeks, but we came at it from a culinary perspective.
Nice.
And so I'm working on editing those films, and those films will be up in October through NWTF and some other stuff. So it's kind of cool because everyone loves watching turkeys die, but it's kind of cool to watch turkeys get cooked.
Mm-hmm.
And the areas we went into, we talked to different people within those areas that don't ever get talked to. And we used ingredients that most people wouldn't use on wild turkeys. And so I think that's kind of fun. I'm working on getting my YouTube up. It's always fun, but no, fall's coming up and my schedule is packed of just taking new people out hunting. I think we got like 30 new people going dove hunting with us this year.
Right on.
All adults. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. My dog's gonna have a lot of fun running out and getting birds, but
Perfect.
I don't know. It's just I'm glad the pandemic's dying so we can start getting back to living. So
Definitely. Right on. Cool. Well, we're excited to see your adventures. Where can everybody find you and find your recipes?
yeah, it's really easy. From field to plate on all social media. So
Okay.
Instagram, Facebook, fromfieldtoplate.com. Again, I'm working on a whole new website. When that's done, it's going to be super interactive and cool. And if you're on Twitter, it's from field, the number 2 plate, because it's too many characters.
Mhm.
Pinterest, same thing, from field to plate. go on there, look at recipes that people are pinning, pin the ones you find that you like. If you have a recipe idea and you just don't know how to work through it, shoot me a direct message on anything. I'm 100%, response rate on all that stuff. And I'll create a recipe. I probably already have it done, just haven't posted it yet. So
Awesome.
don't feel shy, or if I don't know the answer, I'll ask someone who does.
Right on. Well, thank you so much for being such a great resource, and hopefully we can get you on again soon.
Yeah,
I'm sure we're going to have all kinds of more questions.
Please don't forget to subscribe. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star rating and review. It seriously helps more than you know. If you took something away from this podcast or you enjoyed it, please take a screenshot of you listening to it or a selfie and tag us on Instagram at The Reckoning Podcast or me at Brittany.long. We're excited to chat with you next week. Are you needing unique content creation made for your brand? Many of you might not know this, but with close to a decade's worth of experience in marketing and social media, I finally decided to set out on my own. I've helped other influencers reach over 6 figures in revenue with my business, website, and Pinterest marketing management. But I saw a gap within the outdoor community when it comes to females and families outdoors. I'm the girl that feels sexiest when outdoors covered in dirt. But I also love beauty and fashion off the mountain, sometimes on. Cleaning up like you wouldn't believe and encouraging others. There is nothing wrong with loving both. Here at Reckoning, we bring adventures and nature to others through not only photo and video, but audio as well. Entertaining and educating through stories being shared, inspiring others to either start or go on their next adventure with a new sense of confidence from the information or gear they obtained through our content. We offer a unique perspective from a him and her view, plus an outdoor family dynamic. Our content created resonates with those that find solace in the outdoors, including generational and new outdoorsmen. They are brand aware and shop at brands like Vortex, Mountain Ops, Thrive Market, Shills, Amazon, and Ulta. They have other fantastic qualities. You guys seriously are the best. They like being ambitious on and off the mountain and appreciate content like video and audio. Again, if you are wanting unique content creation or branded podcast ad reads created for your brand, learn more at thereckoningpodcast.com/media-kit. Again, if you're wanting to create that unique content creation, go to thereckoningpodcast.com/media-kit.